Hey, Rob.
Yeah?
I got a great idea for this week's intro.
Oh, yeah? What do you got?
Okay, here's the thing. We're gonna... Hey, everybody. This is Tin Plated. I'm Sean.
I'm Rob, and this is Tin Plated Talks, episode 20!
It's a round number again. I'm so happy. Okay, we got
a lot of questions.
Some of them came in a little late. Probably, partly our fault for putting the
Video
podcast itself up late. Shit happens. Sorry.
Right.
You got one. Suck it up.
A lot of history questions, which I'm real glad to see. Little surprise. A lot of curiosity about history out there. That warms the cockles of my heart.
There you go. All right, so we're going to get straight to it. NDDCND NDDD 3, or no,
so
that's
that 5 times fast.
That 3 is part of days ago. My mistake. Where were you when 9/11 happened, and what were you doing? I was in high school. I was in Spanish class for the first building, and I was in math class for the second building. In the first one, I was partnered with the Honduran immigrant girl who was taking it because, it was an easy class and it was a way for her to learn English while
See, that
being
seems
in
like
that.
cheating.
Well, it was a way for them to learn English. Basically, what we had to do in Spanish, they had to do in English.
Right.
And we would converse, and I was talking to her in Spanish. She was talking to me in English. You look very fetching. I partnered with her because she was really cute. But then, once I got to math class, and we had all heard what had happened, what I was doing was watching the TV report. We didn't have class.
I was in middle school. I was in literature class. What do you want me to say? I was a kid. All I knew was that a plane hit a building. I'd actually, believe it or not, up until that point, I'd never heard of the World Trade Center. I didn't know what the fuck it was. I was actually more upset that they'd hit the Pentagon, because that's what made me feel afraid. Like, at first, when you tell me a plane hits a building, I'm going, awesome. I'm going to see a building fall down. That sounds really cool. Because when you're a kid, you're like that. But then somebody said, oh, by the way, they've hit the Pentagon. And I'm going, we're all going to die. That's the
Army, Navy, Marine Force.
That's the people that prevent this shit. We're all going to die.
Yeah.
Like I said, I just wanted to see a building fall down. Middle school kid, but...
So there you go.
Which, by the way, this is usually kind of a comedy thing. I mean, damn, bro. I appreciate the question, but shit.
Fuck, we'll answer whatever we get as long as we have an answer for it.
I'm just saying.
Second one's a little lighter. If you know Neon Genesis Evangelion, who's your favorite character? If you had to choose Rey or Asuka. Rey.
Asuka.
You like the fiery German chick?
I mean, why not?
I like the quiet, more waifish girl with a lot of clones. Spoilers from a 25-year-old series.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is, with anime especially, you can always tell the age by the faces. Mm-hmm. The way they draw faces has changed so radically.
Yeah.
But
if you go back and watch, like, Fist of the North Star or something, they're
right? Exactly. Well, I mean, you look at some of the other effects, and you go, this is some top-quality shit. This could be from any time.
Yeah. And
then you see the faces and the hair, and you're going, nope, this is old as balls.
Third question mentions Command & Conquer Red Alert.
Which I have played, and I fucking love.
So here's the question for it. Einstein created a time machine, went back in time, and removed Adolf Hitler, resulting in Stalin starting World War II. If you could go back in time and change anything in history, what would you change, and how would it cascade into changing the present? Ooh.
Let me just say this about Command & Conquer. One of the cool things you can do with the psychic units, the Yuris, is you can control vehicles. Mm-hmm. So I would play as the Soviets, and I would have my Yuri control a bus, and I'd fill it with the, I think it was the Saudi troop or the Iraqi troop, the suicide bombers.
Uh-huh.
And buses could pass through enemy bases unmolested. So I'd drive the bus right up beside one of their buildings and offload it. Yeah, Command & Conquer is a great fucking game.
So Rob's a terrorist.
Hey, the NSA watches this. Chill the fuck out.
Digital terrorist.
Not better! But what would I go back and change? You know what this reminds me of? I think Sean asked this question. It turned into a game around the house for a few days that I fucking love. Been a point of conversation with some of my more historically minded friends, and it's, if you could go back in time and replace one item at any point with a pineapple, what would you do? And my answer is John Wilkes Booth. At the moment he goes to shoot Lincoln, he yells, "Sic semper tyrannis," and goes to pull, but boom, instead of his pistol, it's a pineapple. So what you have here is, instead of a great moment of sadness, and part of the reason the South got crushed during Reconstruction, which was bullshit, you now have one of the most handsome, well-liked men in America, and a strong Southern supporter, presenting the President of the United States with a symbol of hospitality, the pineapple.
Thus always tyrants. Here's a pineapple.
Exactly!
I would replace the bomb, not the bomb, but the gun that Gabriel Principe pulled on
Franz Ferdinand. Right, okay.
Because I think that would be extra hilarious, because they screwed it up once, they screwed it up again, and then, oh shit, a pineapple.
There you go.
But as far as what I would change in history, a lot of people are probably going to be surprised by this, possibly even Rob. I would see to it that the South won the Civil War.
No, I believe that.
No.
Sean's a big states' rights guy. I'd see to...
The way I see it, it's if that part of the country wants to be a republic more, or a confederacy more than a republic, fine. It would have hurt us far less to just let them secede. Both countries would have done better for it.
Yeah.
Because we would have still needed each other for trade.
Yep.
The South didn't have fuck all for industry, and the North couldn't have fed itself at the time. There would have been plenty of trade. The two countries could have negotiated a peaceful way to do this, and the world would be unfathomably different. I mean, God, who knows? I mean, America has become a world superpower. Would we still be? Would just one of us be? Would we reemerge at some point? Who fucking knows? But
Harry Turtledove actually has a series of 12 books.
Guns of the South?
No. Guns of the South is about apartheid South Africans coming back and giving AKs to the Confederacy.
That's the one I thought you were referencing.
No. He has a whole series that starts with my favorite book of all time called How Few Remain, where the South wins the Civil War straight up, and they get a tie, and there's two independent nations. And it goes all the way up through World War II, with there being two Americas. But that's through a hostile, partnership.
Yeah.
Because we weren't allowed to leave openly. No, I think the big thing you would see would be, and before anybody says it, yes, slavery would still have ended. As a matter of fact, in 1865, there were 3 different bills going through the Confederate Congress for the manumission of slavery. They weren't arguing about if, they were arguing about when and how.
Yeah.
So that's a non-issue for me. And they would have had open immigration to anywhere that the, then freed slaves wanted to go.
Yeah.
But that's a great answer, and I think it's really interesting.
My preference would be to just let them secede peacefully. Failing that, I would have tried to do something to have Reconstruction not be such a carpetbagging load of bullshit.
Also a great one. For me, I would have, the Vikings that landed in America in the year 1000, they landed in North America.
Yeah.
Rather than Newfoundland, I'd have had them land in Virginia.
It's quite a way south.
It's also not such a shithole of a climate. They'd have done much better.
Fuck you, Newfies.
Right, well,
if we have any Newfies watching.
If we do, point remains, I'd have had them land there, and I think what you'd have found would have been, they'd have done okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they're used to living off rocks and anger, not
Yeah.
the bounty of Virginia.
Well, there you go. So that concludes the questions from NEDCND.
Now, for Joe Winters, who this is his most cognizant question ever, good for you, Joe, hooked on phonics. It's, what to you is the Final Fantasy game, and would you consider playing Dragon's Dogma? To me, it's 7, because it's the only one I've ever played, and I think we would consider playing it, but Dragon's Dogma is pretty story-heavy. And it doesn't really work for our style as far as a Let's Play.
Because we blab through stuff.
Yeah.
We're not really showcasing the game. We're not really showcasing gameplay. We're talking bollocks, and the game is facilitating that. Preferably, it's to watch us fail miserably for a little while.
Basically, it's a comedy channel where we play video games instead of other things that you might do.
Yeah.
But, there you
go. For me, the Final Fantasy game is 6, or 3 for American numbering. Kefka was the most badass, insane villain I've ever seen. Loved him. Fucking great. I still remember that teeny little laugh coming out of the Super Nintendo's ability to generate sound. That it was fucking nefarious.
All right. Now, the Banter Guy got this in a mere 9 hours ago. Good on you, Banter Guy. Has 8 questions. I love you, Banter Guy. The first, because... Imagine William, Prince of Normandy, definitively lost the Battle of Hastings. How do you think modern Western civilization would be affected? The Scots Rebellion, the founding of the U.S., and so on. Well, I can say one thing for sure, straight off the top. I wouldn't be here. My family actually came across for the battle. We are in the Doomsday Book. We went from Scandinavia to Normandy. About 100 years between those. We came across, we were made landed nobility, and then we came to America. So there'd be no me in that case. As far as Western civilization, it's really hard to say.
I don't think there'd be too much of a difference. Admittedly, my most experience with this is playing Crusader Kings 2 when William the Bastard comes a-sauntering over the strait there. But I think it'd just be, culture would be different. I don't think civilization would change all that much.
Well, and the real question is, definitively lost. Okay, fine. What happens a generation later? We can't say for sure that it wouldn't have just moved everything back 20 years. Especially with rights of secession and that sort of thing, somebody would have made that claim and made good on it. I think it's a little too far back and a little, mild to really have huge ripples, but what do I know? Maybe we'd look at an entirely different Europe.
Who knows?
But,
Second question. Take the scenario you described in the video, Planet America. Given that history, how would modern culture look? Would we be more or less advanced? That kind of thing. This would be when you posited if we had,
I remember. We nuked the Soviets, and that leads to us having a certain love for the atom, and anybody that steps to us gets stepped on. Well, here's the thing. The kind of resources that Earth possesses, put under the unified control of one government, could be advantageous. That is to say that if we never needed for anything, we simply had access to it. But the other side is, the arms race, the space race, the entire Cold War. There's really hard to have a lot of motivation to advance when you're not competing. Iron sharpens iron. Having the Soviet Union pushed America, and having America push the Soviet Union. Now, if all we did was conquer, if by 1950 there were no free peoples left other than the good citizens of America, it's hard to say. I think there'd be a lot of pockets of the world that would be festering, boils that would be... The Middle East, for example, they wouldn't take to our rule. There would be uprisings, suicide bombings. It would be insane.
I think we'd be overall less advanced, and our modern culture would be a lot more monolithic, would be more oppressive. I don't think there'd be near as much tolerance for diversity as you see right now.
I don't know as I would say more oppressive, but I do agree. I think you would find that the American standard would be considered more the norm. Maybe a good thing, maybe a bad thing. I can't really speak to that, being that I'm kind of the American standard and a big fan of it. But I feel like there would be some level of, we've been Americans forever, we're core Americans, you fuckers in Iceland are, kind of new to the party.
Yeah.
And also, there's a lot of people that make the argument that level of cultural diversity is a negative. That the reason Scandinavian countries are so successful is they're so homogenous. So Planet America may fall apart because it's really hard to give a fuck about somebody on the other side of the globe, no matter what their country they're a citizen of.
There you go. Third question. Some people believe the future of gaming is in virtual reality. I remember when it first showed up. It was bad.
The Virtual Boy? It's okay.
No, I'm talking the slightly more advanced one where you stood in a ring and put on a big headset and it looked It looked like a fucking Atari Jaguar game projected into your eyes. How do you expect that will progress given the best we have right now is the Oculus Rift? Do you think we'll have some kind of holodeck or various stimuli from sitting in an advanced robotic chair? Man. Alright, there's two ways I see this going. If we go for virtual reality, I don't think we'll ever get to the sort of holodeck thing because the laws of physics say the amount of energy that would require is fucking astronomical. Now, getting a headset with perhaps some gloves to give you some sort of haptic response, good surround sound.
You're talking about how you can interact with stuff in the holodeck, so matter from energy requires a lot of energy.
Or even just the force field to make you think it's matter.
Gotcha.
Huge amounts of energy.
Okay.
But with gloves, if you had an Oculus Rift with nice gloves, you could have a haptic response where you can touch something and the gloves can give you its temperature, its texture. It can, compress your hand.
Like little pins that push back.
We could do something like that. I think that's the best we'll get anytime soon. If we crack the DNI code, that's direct neural interface, I think that'll be how we do holodeck type stuff. It'll just directly interface with your brain and project the stimuli straight into your skull. That could get real fucking dangerous, but I think that's a lot more plausible than holodeck type thing. I'm certain we won't get there in my lifetime, but haptic gloves, I think we will. We've already got the point where someone who loses an arm, we can put little sensors that attach next to where the stump is so that they can feel pressure, they can feel temperature and whatnot. And we're even starting to get ways to send stuff directly into the nerves so that they can feel, individual fingers, even though it's up here on the arm.
I have to say, I feel like, I love video games, obviously, and I believe the future of gaming is in getting more and more immersive. I don't think there's really any question in that. But I don't think we'll make these jumps because people want better video games. When you talk about we have the ability to give someone the experience like that, I'm not thinking, hey man, I could play some really kick-ass video games. I'm thinking about quadriplegics or people with locked-in syndrome or shit like that. Giving them their lives back.
Yep.
In some form. Now, I believe that in the fullness of time, barring the extinction of humanity or some sort of colossal failure of the infrastructure, we'll have some shit like, you're in a robotic chair, but you don't know that you aren't Mario. I don't think it's... You know what? I've never used an Oculus Rift.
Me neither.
But I've seen them.
Man, we couldn't get a PS3 until Audio Dump came and granted us his beneficence. What makes you think we've ever even touched an Oculus Rift?
I haven't. But my thing is, I've seen these fads come and go, and I remember when they said the Wii was the next game level in Immersion, and exactly. And I'm like, you know what, guys? As long as I'm aware that I'm in my living room, I will never feel immersion. It's kind of like horror movies. I'm aware I'm watching a movie. That's why I'm not scared in the movie. I'm scared after the movie. What if it's true? But no, as long as I'm sitting in this chair looking at these walls and I'm aware that I'm wearing a headset, what's the big deal?
If copyright law was abolished, what do you think would be the biggest difference within our societies, e.g. UK and the USA? Holy shit, it would be insane. You wouldn't see any more AAA titles. Wouldn't happen. Absolutely, they're done. Double A's, probably also not happening. Kickstarter, maybe. I think Kickstarter would be a lot more important. Pretty much all big art things, big games, whatever, they have to be Kickstarted. That'd be where the funding comes from. I don't think that'd be a bad thing necessarily. I
think you need the big industries to drive the research. You need somebody who's willing to say, let me slap $200 million on the table.
No. It didn't say anything about patent law being abolished. Just copyright law. Just the works you make using that technology would be open source.
Right, but if let's say I make a game system and anybody can produce games for it, what's my motivation to make...
To sell the system. The systems wouldn't be sold at a loss anymore.
No, but the cost of the systems would be astronomical.
Yes, they would.
Because you'd have to shoot your load on the system.
Which is why I think PC gaming would increase a lot. I think Windows and the like would die. Apple would be gone. They'd be fucking gone. Their patents are great, but without the operating systems to run them, they can't keep their closed wall infrastructure like they like. and their ecosystem falls apart. Apple doesn't know what to do. I think Linux would eventually become the de facto operating system, and gaming would revolve around that.
To me, I'd see, when asked this question, I don't know as much about the hard side of gaming, the technical stuff, but I think about all the creative control stuff. Like, okay, every so many years, I want to say 72, everything's supposed to enter the public domain. As a matter of fact, this last year, Superman was supposed to, but he didn't because greed. Which, how kick-ass would that be? Think about all the cool things we have because Sherlock Holmes entered the public domain. We have House, for Christ's sake. I mean...
We have 3 different Sherlock themed shows on the air right now.
Did you ever see the cartoon Sherlock Holmes in the 31st Century?
No, I've heard of it, though.
It was good. I liked it. But, yeah, so I think when you have... If they suddenly tomorrow came out and said copyright laws are done, I think for the next 5 or 6 years, we would have the best television, movies, and books we have ever had.
Fanfic would go insane.
Man, the world is... Everything that you like is fanfic, because writers are inspired by people, and they take characters and transpose them, and... I mean, but we would have 5 or 6 years of the best media ever, followed by not shit.
Yep.
Because there'd be no motivation. I write this awesome book. Somebody else takes it and says, I wrote this awesome book.
Well, people did art and fiction before there was copyright. They presumably do it for the same reason.
Yeah, but
now.
you didn't have the same sort of mass, audience that you do now.
Well, look at people like Toady. Toady One, the guy who does Dwarf Fortress.
Right.
It's free.
Right.
He does it because he wants to do it. He still managed to make a living at it.
Which is impressive.
I think that'd be the way that all art would become. If we had the technology, began a terraforming process to make Mars a new Earth capable of growing healthy food on the surface, given the opportunity and given that Sean could have access to his meds, would you go? Nope, fuck you, not interested in the frontier life. I am not a colonist. I like my nice, comfy, homeworld life.
Well, no,
but I desperately want Mars to be colonized. I just don't want to be the one who does it.
He never said it'd be, Little House on the Prairie. Presumably, if we got that sort of tech, everybody'd have iPads and air conditioning, and it'd be cool.
No, any kind of colonization effort is going to have to start out rough. Rough being a relative term, but no, you're not going to have... So you have an iPad. What's going to connect to?
Satellite internet.
Okay. I hope you like the 3-day ping on your Wikipedia request. No, not doing it.
I would do it. Just so that I could say, yes, my family came to Mars. We did. I would just have to. You know that big face they've got?
Yeah.
I'd piss right in his eye. Mark my motherfucking territory.
If you had one companion in a Souls game, by which I mean Demon Dark or Dark 2, fictional or real, who would you choose and why?
Haven't we gotten this question before?
No. He's not saying one companion from a Souls game. He's saying if you could have someone go with you through Souls. I think.
If you could have one companion in a Souls game. So we have to be in the Souls games but have a friend?
Because he says fictional or real. So everybody in the Souls games are fictional.
Right.
I'll just take God so that he can wave it and make the damn thing done.
Mogo.
Mogo?
Mogo.
By the way, feel free to argue about whether God is fictional or real. I'm not commenting. Number 7.
If you could control any empire at any time in history, absolute supreme leader, speak the language, the whole deal, I'll tell you who I'd pick. America. 15 minutes ago. Followed shortly by, well, sorry, California, you're done, because I'm going to start nuking everybody. And yeah, we're going to lose some of the border states. California's toast. We'll live. Welcome to planet America, motherfuckers. And I don't mean everybody gets to be states. I mean everybody's lucky if they get to be goddamned vassals.
I'll take China. As for the rest of it, see Robb's response. China just has more people. And also, much more willing to sacrifice them.
No, see, that's the brilliant part. I make it look like the Chinese nuked us first. And then it's, remember San Diego! As the missiles go flying off.
Why are you stealing my plan, Guilo? Guilo is a Chinese slur. It means ghost person.
Now, let me ask you, because now you're being racist.
Yes.
But if I use a slur...
But I'm white. I'm allowed to be racist against white people. Guilo.
I know if I say it, you're just going to bleep it and yell at me.
Probably.
So fuck you.
If you could choose a prize from one of these three, which one would you choose and why? Your mass and solid gold, a dozen loyal wenches, every gaming console and game ever made until 2014 with all the DLC and expansion packs included.
Gold.
Yeah, probably, because gold would buy the third one. At least all the ones that I would bother wanting.
Gold would get me way more than a dozen, and I don't need loyal.
And get you about a dozen wenches.
Oh, he'd
Easy.
get me way more. Think about my fucking mass. I weigh around 350.
The only advantage you get from having every gaming console and game ever made until 2014 would be you'd get stuff that was lost. Stuff that nobody has anymore. Stuff that's just fucking gone.
And it's not going to be more valuable than my ass in gold.
Can I have Robb's mass in gold?
No, it's my mass.
Josh's mass in gold.
Nah, bro, that ain't even right. You would either have to take most of the gold in Europe, or gold would be devalued by the sudden expansion of that much gold. Just
well.
Okay, this is just an
TNT is cool. Says, this is just an out there question. Will you be playing any alpha indie games on your channel like Prison Architect or Factorio? Can you play them?
Hannah does.
Yeah, Hannah likes playing those things. We're actually trying to figure out a way to do 7 Days to Die, which is still an alpha. What are your favorite indie games / indie alpha games?
Well, now, Prison Architect, weren't you playing that for a while?
I played it very briefly. It wasn't done enough for me to like it.
Basically, if you guys want to see our indie games and our alpha indies, watch on Thursdays for Hannah.
Usually Thursdays. This week we had to go weird.
She has a knack for them. She's good at it. The 10-turn got a show.
Yep. What are your favorite indie games and indie alpha games? Well, 7 Days to Die. I like it quite a lot.
Is Minecraft still considered an indie game?
Technically, but no, it's not. Damn it. Mojang just bootstrapped themselves into a mainstream developer.
Let me think. Favorite indie game? I don't know. I mean, a lot of indie games that I see are just side-scrolling bullshit. And they're all so similar that whole I want to make a different and beautiful and unique game's kind of gone right out the window. I'm gonna have to say old Minecraft.
Really?
Minecraft changed the way I thought about video games.
Really?
Yes.
There you go.
And don't get me wrong, 7 Days to Die is Minecraft for adults, but I think it's too rough for me to... it's too unpolished for me to really enjoy, and I haven't got to play it near as much as John has.
It's getting there. It really is.
Yeah.
Can we have a showcase of all the people who live in the house with you and them briefly saying hi, who they are, and if they want, describe themselves? We'll see if they're up for it. We'll maybe try to tack it on next week, or maybe do that for an intro one week. We'll see what they want to do.
Oh shit, we'll do it like the kids from The Sound of Music. Blow a whistle and make them step up and announce themselves.
God. 101 Terrafiends asks, favorite pure MMO game? I'm going to go with Dragon Realms. I know I've talked about it a lot, and you guys have asked me to play it. I've messaged their Twitter. I've emailed their press account. I've emailed some of their lead GMs. I've emailed everybody I can to get permission to do it. I can't get a response.
Holy shit, this is it, Tin Soldiers. This is your moment. Hashtag let Sean play. Twitter bomb him. Email campaign.
No, I would love to play Dragon Realms for the channel, at least try to summarize it, because it's a text-based game, so yeah, don't really want to watch it, but I could, do some frames and, put together some images and shit, but whatever. But I can't get a response.
Come on, guys.
Can't do it.
Call them out.
Rob, your favorite MMO?
I don't play a lot of MMOs. The Skinner box is too overt for me. It just is. But I guess I'd have to say WoW is the one that really hooked me for the longest. For the Horde.
There you go.
He also wants to know our favorite game with both single player and multiplayer types. Now, for that, sir, I say Payday.
Payday is pure multiplayer. It's just that you have the ability to use bots.
Well, yeah. Well, bots, I mean, that's no different than Call of Duty.
Call of Duty has a single-player campaign. Payday does not.
It has the bots.
That's not a campaign. That's not a single-player. It's just you playing multiplayer because you don't have any friends.
Well, no reason to be hurtful about it. All right, then, Okay, what about Star Wars Battlefront? Because you can play that online, as I recall.
Sure, that seems like a suitable answer.
So I really liked getting to just be a stormtrooper.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, gosh, I don't know what I would say would be my favorite with both single and multiplayer. Probably something like either 7 Days to Die or Minecraft.
There you go.
Something like that.
And your favorite pure single-player game? You and you alone.
Unreal World.
All right.
Which is another thing we've been trying to do for the channel, because it's sort of a roguelike survival type thing, but man, it's real hard to get a video of a game that complicated and not make it boring as shit. So I'm not sure how we're going to pull that off.
Yep.
We're looking into it.
Sly Cooper.
There you go. Nothing wrong with that answer.
Yep. Seth Bone wants to know, what camera do we use? Well, it depends. We have a Logitech webcam, and then we have cameras on his tablet and my iPad.
Yeah, that's what we use. That's all we got.
Shoestring budget.
Yep, there you go.
By that I mean if we broke one, we couldn't afford to get a new one.
Yep. My tablet's around here.
Actually is cracked on the screen.
Yeah, it's got a huge crack in the screen, but it still works, so I still use it.
You have never seen a more picture of misery as when that screen cracked.
It was not pleasant.
Chocobo Joe wants to, apparently this was more than a year ago.
No. It's Chocobo 12, 13
Right.
days. Well, Chocobo 121, 3 days ago.
Okay. Really like the intro.
Never mind our sloppy copy pasting. Go screw yourself.
Glad you liked the intro, Chocobo Joe. That one was not easy to think of or do. I know I spend a lot of time thinking of intros. If you could control any empire civilization, which would it be?
You got beaten to the punch.
And apologies, but apparently Sean and I are going to do World War III, America v. China. Electric Boogaloo. If you could be any god from mythology, games, anime, etc., who would you be and why?
I'd be God, as in the Abrahamic God, because he's omnipotent. Why would I choose a lesser god? Why would I choose something other than a pure, omnipotent, omniscient being? Why on earth would I limit myself?
Well, because...
Or, I guess, Shinji from Neon Genesis Evangelion.
See, at that point...
Same guy.
At the point that you're the Abrahamic god, you're too big to really enjoy it.
Too big to fail.
Well, yeah, but you're also too big to, like, man, this soda tastes fucking good. There's no little things... And you're so outside of time that it would be pointless. I want somebody who's...
But I'm omniscient enough to think of something that would still be interesting to me.
Which is fine, but I want to be
good.
in the trenches.
You have fun with that. Dredging in the dirt, colonizing Mars. So what's your choice?
It's a tough one. It is. Gimli.
Gimli?
Yep.
The dwarf?
Nope. The Nordic god and son of Thor who survives Ragnarok and leads existence into a new gilded era.
Ah.
You can't pick a Nordic god who dies in Ragnarok. That shit would hurt. You gotta pick one of the survivors, which are the children of the old gods. So I'd pick Gimli.
Alright then, good dodge. Okay, well, that finally gets us through all the questions. Thank you. Very, very good. Very
Guys,
good.
I am pleased with the caliber of question, the subject, and the quantity.
Yes.
The hat trick.
Very well done. We're very proud of you, tin soldiers. At ease. For about 3 seconds. And
Yeah, not two of these. We got to do another one of these in a week.
Yeah. But thanks for watching. As always, like, comment, and subscribe below. We've got a Facebook page for you to like. We've got a Twitter for you to follow. We've got a Snapchat and an Instagram. If you need to email us directly for some reason, there is Robb at tinplated.com. There is Sean at tinplated.com.
Ladies.
There are forums available at tinplated.com. They're not really that heavily trafficked right now, but go over there, shoot the shit for a little bit. If we come up with something we can put on there to maybe drive a little bit of interest there, we will. For now, it sits there. It's just a place for people to talk tin-plated and all that. I think that's all we got. So without further ado, we'll see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.